Ah, I don't know what I can say. I honestly don't know. You guys just got done watching the latest episode of My Hero Academia like I have. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, I honestly did not know. I did not think that there was a way for the heroes to take an even bigger L than last week. I thought last week was like, okay, they tried. You know, you had Bakugo be like, yeah, I'm going to power through, and we getting all backstory, growth, and all this, and he still got shut down. I thought, okay, this is kind of the worst that could happen. No, there's a lot worse thing that could happen. You know, this show is definitely not shy from killing people off. Now, albeit maybe not a lot of people. It's done that in the past, you know, rip one for midnight. Bakugo's dead. He's dead. I for all intents and purposes, you know, I rewatched it. I was like, maybe there's some way he come back. Maybe there's something here. No, he has no heart. His heart it basically got absolutely exploded and destroyed. Yeah, he's dead. That's all I can say. But there were some things that I did take note of. So make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed because, yeah, there's a lot to discuss here and go over. So first things first, I gotta hand it to Bakugo. He went out like a soldier, like a G. He went in there, and even though he got ragdolled and beat up, thrown out, he still kept one eye on the battle, and he was still analyzing Shigaraki's movements, and so then that way he could try to get in there and try to figure out where he can attack. And then we also the evolution of his quirk, because I forgot about the fact that it's only through his hands, like the sweat in his hands, that actually he can use the explosions from. I also forgot because as each season kept going on, he's getting all these other, he's got the howitzer, like things in his shoulders. He's been throwing out all these bombs everywhere that I'm like, oh yeah, his quirk is only in his palms. The natural thing next is, okay, what about the sweat from your whole body? Because, you know, sweat everywhere, not just in your palms. So the fact that he was able to use the sweat from his whole body and propel himself in multi directions very quickly was like, great, awesome. That's a major upgrade. That's kind of essentially what the upgrade would be naturally. You know, if this was you and you have this quirk and you saw, oh, it's only the sweat in my palms that actually do anything, you would naturally be like, is there a way I can use the sweat from the rest of my body? And through stress and battles, he was able to obtain that. But it was kind of cut short, just a smidget. Even though he had analyzed all the movements, he knew where to move around and go around, he put himself at disadvantage here being upside down. If you actually look at the frame, he missed. If you carefully look at this frame here, this is where you see Shigaraki actually strikes Bakugo, hits him straight in the chest, straight through the heart, and of course everyone is there trying to hold back Shigaraki, but Bakugo just missed. You know, it's one of those where you have that clash and you have one fist going one way and one going another. Shigaraki just connected first, and Bakugo's blast just kind of goes past him, and he missed. So now, granted, yes, Bakugo is analyzing Shigaraki's movements and such, but Shigaraki is almost like evolving as the fight goes on. He keeps bringing out more and more attacks and more abilities as things keep progressing. And this is even with them shutting down his quirk from being able to erase them. I am all my flabbers are gasted at this point. It's just absolutely crazy that this has happened, and definitely not something that I knew was going to happen. So where do we go from here? Now, granted, if you see the preview from next week's episode, it doesn't look like it's getting any better for the heroes. Things that we thought were already taken care of is not. So there's battles. I mean, the heroes are constantly taking more L's, which I'll be honest is very surprising to me, because looking at a writer's perspective on this. Normally you want to have your heroes or your protagonist's company kind of do, you know, okay, and kind of like take their battles and do well, because you don't want it to have the point where your main hero, in this case Deku, be like the savior for everything. Then it goes like, oh, then what was everyone else there for? So I definitely was not expecting the heroes to take this many L's this quickly. And yes, we might start seeing more of Class 1A evolving, getting stronger and pushing back. And that wouldn't surprise me, but I am just taken aback by the sheer number of L's that they are taking and the way the fights are going through, which just makes it even more entertaining. It's crazy. It's very good. So I do like in Bakugo's final moments that how he took a page from Deku. He saw how Deku previously in fights always fought injured, like, and we've seen it where Deku, whether it's injured from the enemies or injured from his own self, that he still keeps fighting. You know, the whole shonen trope, if you will, like still persevering, still fight through the pain. Bakugo has always been kind of a strategist. He's always been gifted, I guess, on the battlefield. It's the best way to say it, where he's fighting through sheer determination and still fighting to be able to win in the end. It's here that you kind of see for once that he is sitting there watching the battle, watching the fight, checking out the movements of your enemies, seeing what they favor, or do they favor their right, their left. In boxing matches, that is how you're going to actually win against your opponent, because you're looking, okay, what do they favor? Do they like to shift their feet around? Do they like to go in for the uppercut, the jab? It's all about the homework. Just like in football and all kinds of sports where you run the tape, look at past events from your opponent. This is the same thing Bakugo is doing. They reminded Bakugo that, okay, you were brought here because you fought Shigaraki in the past, so we wanted to bring you back because of the experience. Bakugo's like, that is true. And he sits there and he starts looking like, okay, all right, I think I got it. And for all intents and purposes, he did a good job in the beginning. Just like boxing, you can't avoid every hit. You're still gonna take a hit here and there. Real quickly, I do wanna touch up on this. What was Eraserhead gonna do? Eraserhead is like, hey, you guys need to protect Bakugo. He's the future. He's going to graduate and be aim for the #1. He said that earlier when Bakugo was first captured. And then now, after everyone sees what's happened to Bakugo, he grabs his strap like, what are you going to do? How are you going to get in there? Like, he's about to get up and go and save him himself. Is like, it's a little too late for that. And your job is to make sure that Shigaraki can't use his quirk. So it's like, excuse me, sir. I understand and I appreciate your determination and trying to get, go in and help when you don't think everyone else is able to do something. But what are you about to do here? I mean, one-legged, one-eyed. Sit back and sit down for a moment, okay? So where does that leave us? At this moment in time, Bakugo is just straight dead. I don't think anyone there can, stitch back his heart unless Genus or the paper guy is able to go in there and, I don't know, put his heart back together and get it beeping, some weird shonen move of some sort. The only thing I could think of that can really bring him back and actually save him would have to be Eri. We haven't heard about Eri for a while. We don't know where she's at. I don't think I've seen a cameo of her at the school. Like, I believe there was one time they might have shown her at the school, but I don't know if she's actually at the school or maybe she is actually there, hidden. Kind of like Lemillion, how he popped up in this episode. Maybe Eri is somewhere around. If she can get to him, touch him, whatever's necessary, she could kind of turn back the clock and bring him back, which would not surprise me as a move to do. Like, whenever you're up against Shigaraki, you're bound to plan ahead and think that you as heroes are going to take, not necessarily some casualties, but take some hits on the verge of death. that having Eri there and the possibility that she might be in more control of her quirk, she might just be able to save not only Bakugo, but a few people that are fighting there. Now, this is more wishful thinking and kind of strategic thinking on my end, but that's the only thing I can really think of to kind of save Bakugo or save any of the people that's happening here, because Shigaraki's on top. It was nice that Lemillion kind of started the chiseling of Shigaraki's heart and reaching in to that child that's in him, because he mentioned the fact that he doesn't have any friends, and then he thought about it for a second. It's like, wait a minute, I have friends. And Lemillion's like, well, that's a weird statement. Maybe I should leave it alone. No, keep talking, which is the start of probably what Deku's gonna do. Imagine Deku's gonna show up on the scene. He's not gonna be too happy about seeing what has happened here. Shigaraki gets his wish and taking out Bakugo, so then that way it will more than likely push Deku over the edge, and Lord knows it's going to be pretty hard on Deku when it happens, which, you know, the regular shonen power up, you know, whether it's, you know, one of your friends or an ally dies and then they manifest some power within them that they've never had before, I imagine Deku's gonna pop off even harder than before due to what we know in shonens in general. Now, the very last thing I do want to touch on is this. Now, as we see here, as Bakugo was popping off, Shigaraki was getting flustered like, wait a minute, he's a side character. Why is he pressing me so hard? Now, using the All for One memories and, you know, the fact that All for One is in Shigaraki, he's remembering the fact that he is fighting this man here. And for those that don't know, if you look real carefully, this guy has the red hair and everything. This is the second user of One for All. This is more than likely their battle or the moment when All for One, I guess, kills the second user. So he is remembering about a fight that he's had in the past. Now, granted, no clue how their fight went, you know, with the second user here. But all I know is that the second user probably pushed All for One to a certain degree and a certain level, which only goes to state that Shigaraki is probably going to have more memories of his fights with previous users of One for All when Deku shows up. And of course, Deku is going to show up and use all the previous abilities from all the previous users. So the fact that he started to remember this from Bakugo only means that as the fight goes on, especially when Deku shows up, that it may throw off his mental state more so as he gets flustered and Deku is using all these moves against him, that he's going to be like, wait a minute, why is he like this? Any way to disable him, whether it's through reaching out to the little child in him or bringing back previous fights and previous memories that All for One has, I think this is a good sign for Deku, but still sucks that this had to happen to Bakugo. I'm really not going to touch up too much on the preview for next week because I'm going to let next week speak for itself. But definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please, no spoilers, but thank you for not spoiling this happening, because Lord knows, ooh, this was a doozy and definitely something that I was not prepared for at all. So we will definitely discuss more anime here on the channel, so stay tuned. Make sure you like the video, make sure you guys are subscribed, and make sure you guys hit the bell notification so then that way you know when more videos come up. You guys be safe, take care, and Lord willing, I will see you next time. Bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.